I've been kicked out of my near-death free all around. I've been locked up for driving 120 through town. I've been shot at and cut with a knife, messing around with another man's wife. But other than that, we ain't nothing, just good old boy. Threw my boss out the window and got fired for my last job. I acquired a city truck and turned it over in the mayor's yard. Paid my brother-in-law half to them. Lost $20 on his football bet. But other than that, we ain't nothing, just good old boys. Good old boys, we're all the same. Ain't no way we'll ever change. Ain't no harm by the things we do or the trouble that we get.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Wade and Carter Show. Ash Brent taking button stealing. We're doing here this morning.
You don't miss the sign. You don't get to miss the sign.
Oh, pay attention.
All right.
Mark Kurtz, Daniel Wade White, Scott Tomko on the podium this morning. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining us on the show. Glad to be here on a Tuesday. Lots to talk about. Surprisingly, it's not a slow news Tuesday. Wade and Carter weather brought to you by the great folks at AT Deerlam Hayfeed and Arant Services. I'm going to guess same as yesterday.
74 degrees in Victoria under mostly clear skies, heading to a high today of 93. Appears like it's going to get a little cloudier this afternoon. There's a 45% chance of rain on Friday and an 80% chance of rain on Saturday.
Yeah, it looks like thunderstorms.
Good. We need a little rain.
We do need a little bit of rain.
A little bit of rain coming down.
Everybody needs a little rain.
Just a little
Never
rain.
rains in Southern California.
Right? But when it pours, it pours.
You're doing the signs. It reminds me of a Gene Mock story. Remember the legendary manager of the Angels and could never quite get him over the hump. Did some magic with the Expos when they weren't very good. He had a different set of signs for every single player in the lineup, depending on the situation.
So you couldn't steal his signs.
No,
So he was paranoid. The Dick Nixon of baseball.
or just very prepared.
How did the Expos ever let Randy Johnson get away? Money, money, money.
Well, because if you think about it, Randy Johnson was a hard-throwing,
6'8", 6'10",
6'10" lefty,
lefty.
6'11".
He only threw it 46 feet. He stepped so close to the mound.
But for the same reason the Mets let Nolan Ryan go, he had no control, and they were in the middle of a pennant race, and Mark Langston was the best pitcher in the majors that year.
Correct.
And they traded for him from Seattle, and to get something, you have to give up something, and it didn't quite work out the way they were hoping, but at least the Expos couldn't be accused of not doing anything as they were for so many years. Greg Garcia, Marvin Mickus, Jordan Glass, David Glass, Scott Snow, Bobby Leister, good morning. P. Strauss checking in, Arena Scherer, Cody Bauman, Micah Patton, Ricky King, Linda Christ, Heather Stewart, Tammy Keeling, Junior Samples, Jarrett McCrugan, Tammy Williams. Jarrett happy this morning because Calgary will have a new mayor. The socialist mayor that they had conceded yesterday, and now it's between the closet socialist Jeremy Farkas and I think her name is Sheila Sharp. They're the last two they're counting ballots on, who is, I think she's running as a conservative. I'm not so sure she's probably more middle of the road, but she's
Is that
probably
just Canada? Is that like saying he's a really conservative attorney? He may be conservative for an attorney, but he's liberal.
and he may be conservative for Canada, but he probably leans center right.
And by the way,
Center mid.
I don't think you want a hardline conservative lawyer. You may want a conservative judge. Actually, I want the most liberal judge I can find as well. I want the guy that says, "Oh, he was a good boy."
Feel sorry for you.
Yeah. P. Strauss points out Blue Jays and Dodgers in the World Series probably won't watch much of it. Neither team I care about. Like you said, don't pitch to Cal Raleigh and
the Blue Jays did that the whole series, and it almost cost them.
And but now George Springer really having a good postseason. Good morning, Clayton Hill.
Yeah, he hit a Springer dinger in the 7th yesterday. I watched the highlights.
You know, I
this
see
morning.
what Clayton Hilt's doing. I don't know if you've caught on to it yet. We owe Clayton Hilt and his fine organization a month of advertising that we can't wait to provide. But we haven't been able to sit down and just visit about what he wants advertised. And so we mention him every time he calls in and mention that we owe him a month's advertising.
Yeah,
He's going to get a year's worth of
exactly,
advertising
for
out of
nothing.
this gig. Yeah. Yeah. Great folks. We can't wait to sit down with him and Chris and figure out exactly what to do.
Lisa Poole, good morning. Will Franklin.
Hey,
Jared
Will.
Says, so I guess Sonia Sharp, did lose. The last headline I saw, she was this morning. She was still in the mix, but we'll see what happens for Calgary. Scares me that somebody who is a climate socialist in a city that relies on oil and gas as its major industry. That'd be like putting that'd be like putting a climate guy or girl in charge in Houston. It just doesn't work.
Sean Paul Holt, JP usually checks into the show later in the morning because clearly at game time, he's not, the synaptic is not there. He says, go talk about how a win is a win in the SEC because it's not a grind. And then talk about undefeated A&M being pedestrian. If you want, we were talking about trash. You said if you want to talk about trash. The reality is that a win is a win at this point in the year. You'll recall that last year when Ohio State won the championship, but when Georgia was the defending champ, they beat Kentucky at Kentucky 13-12. So Texas beating Kentucky 16-13 isn't in and of itself indicative of an SEC grind. What it is indicative of is that Texas should have beaten them 45-13, and they simply didn't play offense. Texas, not a very good football team. Now, translate that over to the Smoke and Mirrors Aggie program that's undefeated with a totally inept and inadequate quarterback who hasn't
I'm not going to go that far.
Well, because you watched him play against Notre Dame, and you have that memory of him throwing one dime into the end zone to a wide-open tight end. I watched the same game and marveled at his execution. But since then, the weak link on that program is at QB. Their defense is stellar. Their O-line has been good. Oh, it doesn't help that they lost, what's his name, Le'Veon Bell, the running back. That doesn't help. But at the end of the day, for A&M to give up as many points as they did and barely get by Arkansas, I know
Barely
they
get
scored late, yada,
10
yada,
seconds
yada. That
left.
sounds like a Washington State rationalization. I'm telling
not.
you that
Football
among the
rationalization.
okay, so you tell me, where do they stack up? You got Ohio State, you got Indiana, you got Miami. Miami got beat the other day. Think the Aggies beat Miami?
Well, right now they're 7-0.
Think the
I don't
Aggies
know.
beat
Any
Miami?
given Sunday, any given Saturday these days in
There
college
you go.
football.
Well, we will see. There's games down the stretch. There's
But
my mother.
I think what's happening right now, though, is Reed is not doing anything to lose games.
Fair statement.
And if all he does is bring you Trent Dilfer that
Right.
can win a Super Bowl and get him to a national championship, then he's done his job.
Oh, you've gone way too far with your fantasy.
No, I'm just saying
There's
if that's
no
what he
chance the Aggies
does,
win a
if that's what he does, then so
Yeah, Patrick
But-
Strauss is just
but
such
he's-
a homer. He's got
No, he's a fan.
no objectivity. Good morning,
well, I don't know.
Mom.
An offense scores on 7 to 9 drives. That's pretty good.
Well, they're playing Arkansas. They also let Arkansas score on what? 6 of 12 drives, whatever. Good morning, Mom. I hope you're doing good today. Today is my mom and dad's 65th wedding anniversary. How about that? Yeah. Pretty good.
That is pretty good. Dodgers to the World Series against the Blue Jays. First time the Blue Jays have been there since '93 when they won it.
Is that when Joe Carter hit that bomb?
Yeah, I think that was '93.
the walk-off, the only walk-off home run to ever
No World Series.
win a World Series. That's right.
Yeah, they went back to back, won them both, and then the demise of the Blue Jays happened and continued until a couple of years ago when Jose Bautista did that bat flip that became famous, and then
Yep.
they floundered, and now they're there. So we'll see what happens.
Taylor Keeling with some sarcasm. She says A&M 7-0 with 5 home games. Gig 'em. That's just objective. And David Ballard is absolutely correct. Arkansas has always played really well against A&M, and Arkansas they're not terrible.
And they'll probably play really well against UT on November 22nd.
I'm not going to be surprised if they don't beat Texas. We don't play them on the 22nd. I don't
think it
think.
is.
Do we? Because then we play A&M the next weekend.
Could be a trap game for Texas. I get
Oh yeah,
looking
we'll get
past
caught
that
looking
one.
ahead. We're
Yeah.
always looking ahead to the
Yeah.
Aggies. Sure.
Nobody looking ahead to this yesterday. Huge Amazon Web Services outage that disrupted a lot of folks that have Amazon for their cloud support. Alexa was down. Snapchat was down. Kids everywhere were panicking because they couldn't play Fortnite before school yesterday. ChatGPT wasn't doing anything. Some fantasy sports sites were having troubles loading stats because of it. So
Interesting.
this to me is a problem with cloud-based services and the reliance on Amazon for your cloud. I think there's two major players, right? Amazon and Microsoft. That's really it. And I mean, maybe there's a few others that I think Oracle does some stuff, but that's more business-based. But I'm assuming they're not subbing it out to Amazon.
I think John
could be.
Paul, John
John
Paul's
Paul might
probably
know.
about to start his own
But
cloud.
for major companies, and you got to wonder what was the network outage. I mean, they haven't really said, but was it somebody
Silver
trying
lining.
to hack them?
Silver lining services. Anything. Oh, Alexa. Snapchat.
McDonald's was done. Canva, which a lot of small businesses use for a lot of their, like photo and imaging stuff. A subsystem monitoring network load balancer was the issue, whatever the hell that means.
Internal subsystems monitoring network load balancers. Pitzer valves.
Yeah,
It's all
and
ball
ball
bearings.
bearings,
Give me some
exactly.
30 weight. We'll fix this thing.
So interesting. With that, it's just
It is interesting to me that I don't know how many of you are like me in this regard, but to know so little. Hi, Crystal Mapp and Jennifer Rayburn and Andrew Alvarez and Katina Arterberry. I mean, I use a computer every day extensively. I don't know beans about it. I get scared about like getting into there. I've gotten better at once I found that little arrow that goes like that undo arrow. But I mean, it's intimidating. And simply like right click. Right click always leads to problems. Go to that little Microsoft window at the bottom. That one.
yeah.
Oh man, there's stuff in there.
Well, when
If
you
you
can
touch that blue thing, there's stuff
Yeah.
in there.
Well, when you can access a file when you're in Houston because you're with a client and you can get it through the interwebs, that's
That
cloud
helps.
technology and computing.
There you go.
Or,
Good morning, Cody Bowman.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, Brand Us, for everything you need, Brand Us can help you. If you need to grow your brand, and it seems that he can grow every brand but ours, but if you can grow your brand, if you need to monetize your website, if you need, I don't know, I'm very excited about what I think now I think it's confirmable that we're touching, maybe even surpassing 15,000 listeners a day.
And probably by next week into new markets as well.
Yeah.
Working on that.
Can't talk about it.
Not yet.
If we did talk about it, it would be big.
And if we did talk about it, it probably wouldn't come to fruition. So
Right.
let's not jinx it.
Maybe you could get Donald Trump to come talk to the VEDC. It's going to be super, super things out at the port. Wade and Carter going to the port.
You think this was planned? on the heels of the No Kings protest?
What's
That construction workers moved in and started dismantling part of the East Wing to build
I don't.
the Trump ballroom. What's interesting
People are
is
losing their minds and they're just ignorant. ignorant.
nobody called the renovation, the complete renovation of the White House, I think in 52, the Truman renovation, or it became the Truman White House. No, it was just a renovation. When the West Wing was built and became the executive wing of the White House, and I don't remember which president, that might have been Coolidge. Nobody said, "Oh, there's the Coolidge wing."
And I wonder how
Right?
many of those projects, Ash, were completed with zero taxpayer dollars.
I don't know.
I wonder how many
That's
of
a good
those
question.
projects were done with donations.
Every president has come and gone has done renovations of some sort.
Well, tearing down parts of the East Wing is no big deal. And I find it interesting that people are saying things like, well, you've got a lot of this going on at a time when we're financially struggling. Okay, it's all being done with donations.
People are starving.
And nobody said, for example, when Jackie Kennedy totally redecorated the White House, nobody said, you've got racial unrest in the South and she's spending money on, right? 1960, 61, she started doing that. She created a rose garden.
It was Theodore Roosevelt that modernized the White House and established the West Wing. Nobody calls it the Roosevelt Wing, but this is the Trump ballroom to the media, right?
Well, because he's a king and
Yeah.
he wants, he's a king because that's the ignorant narrative of the day. I had a friend call me yesterday.
Truman gutted the entire thing and rebuilt it from the inside.
I had a friend call me yesterday and he asked me sincerely, this is a highly educated man. This man's an attorney. He happens to live in Boulder, Colorado. So a lot of his influence is going to be leftist, but he's an attorney.
Or weed.
He's a no. but he's an attorney, so he's a leftist anyway. And he asked me, he goes, I have a serious question to ask you, and I'm going to hold you to it. And I said, okay, we're great friends. Believe it or not, I'm not like your typical leftist who says, I can no longer be your friend because we disagree
You like
on
Trump.
politics. No. And neither is this guy, even though he's a leftist. He's not I hate you because you're a Trump guy. He and I have great conversations. And he said to me, do you swear to me that when this administration's time comes to an end and the Republicans create chaos, follow that logic, when the Republicans create chaos and Donald Trump declares martial law and suspends elections and refuses to leave office and stays on because he's the only one who can guarantee peace, you swear to me you're going to denounce that? I said 100%. I can't think of anything that could happen internally in our nation that should in any form inhibit the peaceful transfer of power. I could see martial law being instilled if we were in the middle of a major world war conflict.
FDR.
Right. We don't have time right now to have elections. We're too busy fighting in Los Angeles against the Japanese, whatever the world war conflict would be. So absolutely, if you ever hear any administrative person, any Republican especially, even suggest the suspension of elections, the refusal to transfer power peacefully because it's too much of a tumultuous time, any of that, you can know that I will be against that. That is ridiculous.
Look at this interesting headline, and thank you for stalling long enough for me to
Sure.
find this image that I had seen yesterday. This is from CNN in June of 2012. The headline: Liberals want Obama to be a king, not a president. Dean Obadiah says some liberals want a ruler who would be unrestrained by Congress and the Constitution.
Well, I told my buddy, I
This
said,
was a CNN headline in 2012. The left was okay because it was their king, their guy. They would have been fine with Obama being able to just continue on
oh, yeah.
and fly in the face of the Constitution and 2 term limits. They didn't
Oh, yeah.
give a crap back then. Because as we pointed out yesterday, they want a king. They don't want a king. They want their king.
Junior Samples points out Jackie O replaced all the china and silverware at great expense in the 60s, and not one word from the Democrats.
And then the Clintons stole it all.
And half the Democrats wanted him dead. John Paul says the About Us page on the No Kings website is a good research project and a time burn on discussion. Yeah.
You know, it's funny that they're talking about the
Thank you, Junior.
it's funny that they're talking about wasting money on what's going on in the White House.
You take some stuff out of the budget.
Here's Senator Kennedy things that the left is mad at.
He's a soundbite wizard.
Yes. And don't get me wrong, there's a lot more than this, but this is indicative of the things that are going on by the Democrats and holding up this spending bill, because we've just kicked this can down the road since the Biden administration.
Play it, James.
Think is a waste. And we did. And that upset the Congresswoman. She's entitled to be upset if she
Talking
wants
about
to.
Ocasio-Cortez.
But that really upset the socialist wing of the party. And so we took out, and here's what they want us to put back in. We found that under President Biden, they were spending $3 million for circumcisions and vasectomies in Zambia. We took that out. The Congresswoman says, we're going to shut down government till you put that back in. We found $500,000 of American taxpayer money for electric buses in Rwanda. We found $3.6 million for pastry cooking classes and dance focus groups for male prostitutes in Haiti. I kid you not. I'm not making this up. It was in the budget under President Biden. We took it out. Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez in the socialist wing, the loon wing of the Democratic Party, says we're going to shut down government until you put it back in. I'll just read you a few more that we took out. They are demanding we put back in. $6 million for media organizations for the Palestinians. $833,000 for transgender people in Nepal. $300,000 for a pride parade in Lesotho.
You get the idea of some of the absolute waste the federal government has been doling out in the name of foreign aid.
So I heard the other day that there's a very real chance that you'll see Kamala Harris run again in 28 with AOC as a running mate. And my Democrat buddy in Colorado said, no, there's no chance. They won't run 2 women. The world's not ready for 2 women. I said, okay, and I don't disagree, and that's fine. But he said, I think they'll run Kamala Harris with Barack Obama as her VP.
He can't. He's already served 2 terms. He's not allowed to be vice president in case he ascends to the throne. But he would
Well,
never
so
give up.
here's my question to you. That was my knee-jerk reaction. You stated that emphatically, like you know that, because I know you can't be elected to a 3rd term, but could you not ascend from the vice presidency to a
not
partial
not
term?
not through my understanding of the rules of engagement here.
Okay. So
So-
your understanding, I defer to. Yeah, I defer. Micah Patton, you're just going to make heads explode. He
Yeah.
says Trump 2028. It makes heads
Don't do
explode.
that. It does. It
Micah
does.
Patton, a big proponent of Dancing Queen being the Republican Party theme song.
And the official fight song of West and East.
Yeah, the official fight song of West High School. What do you got there? What do you got?
Well, I'm trying to find. There was.
I refuse to disparage. I applaud Glenn Hager. I've heard nothing, by the way, but great things about this Mark Welsh that was the president at A&M that was dismissed. I feel like some of this DEI phobia is a witch hunt. All academics, again, just like all lawyers are liberal, most academics are liberal. It bolstered me as a young man in Austin, Texas, to listen to people. I don't know if you remember when you realized that all adults aren't correct. When I was a kid, my mom and dad told me, because we were at church a lot, right? If an adult tells you to do something, you do it. And then if then you can tell us, and if something's wrong, but in the meantime, you mind. And by the time I got to Texas, I was like, that guy's a nut. And that helped me. It helped me refine why I believe what I believe. They did not shape my mind in the leftist mentality. They allowed me to go, yeah, that guy's a nut. That's why that guy's here, working his tail off forever to make $100,000, and he's an idiot. And that's where my brain went with school professors. But I think it's unfortunate that because A&M, which is a fine academic institution, because Texas A&M toils under that illusion of we're the most conservative school on the planet. We've got the core. It's not. It's just another AAU research university that's subject to all the politics that affect every AAU and government granted huge sums of money university. I find it unfortunate that they live right now under a microscope. There is no punchline. I'm defending Texas A&M here. It is a very fine, very conservative university in as much as a university can be conservative.
And Texas just removed a senior vice provost of academic affairs or something like that because they didn't agree with his ideological leanings.
Well, in this article that you were on, it was back up here. Okay. I'm not even sure. It was right here. Earlier, right there, last month, a Texas A&M professor was fired after a recording emerged of her discussing gender identity during a children's literature course. And it says Mark Welsh III ultimately stepped down over his handling of the incident. I watched the video, and there was a young woman in there. I'm not saying she was wrong. I'm saying she had an agenda. And she said, I don't feel comfortable talking about this. And the professor basically said, you're in my classroom. You're calling me out live. If you don't feel comfortable talking about this, she basically said, this isn't on the syllabus. This is you're deviating from the prescribed subject matter. And the professor asked her to leave. Where the university dropped the ball, Mark Welsh, is that Welsh turned around and said via the chain of command, look, you had a good grade in the class. Say it was an A. How about if we just give you an A and you just don't go back to that class? That just doesn't seem like an acceptable outcome. It was the middle of the semester, and you're telling the kid, well, there's nothing else for you to learn here because you don't agree with this professor. We'll just give you an A to just shut up and move on down the road. Well, she didn't, and it ultimately cost Mark Welsh his position.
Not a good move.
I just, but it's amplified because it's at the most conservative university on the planet.
Well, I mean, is that any different than a business going, you know what, we'll just give you a raise if you shut up and look the other way to, the illegal doings that were Enron.
Right. And then you're surprised when the CEO goes to jail. There you go. That's what's interesting.
Yeah.
What did John Paul say?
He says last week he realized all adults aren't correct.
No, that's right. They're not. A lot aren't. He said, fine academic and athletic institution. There's no doubt about it. If that's the case, which I don't disagree that it is the case, it just goes to exemplify that Texas is the flagship school of the state of Texas.
Daniel Bird saying that no King Day seemed to work because he woke up yesterday and still had no king.
There you go. We have no king. And people don't understand, if we had a king, you wouldn't have no king's protests.
I wonder if that's what led to Prince Andrew, the Duke of York, giving up his Duke of York title. Oh, no, wait. That was the revelation that he actually did have relations with underage. Well, they're not underage. They're girls. They're girls.
That woman, Monica Lewinsky?
No, not that woman. She was a woman, but they didn't even bother, worrying about trying to charge our president with any sort of HR violations for exerting influence on an underling.
I just thought she was a cigar cutter. Palace Bingo, where friends meet friends.
This Thursday, we will be there.
Come on, the 23rd. We're going to be there. It's going to be fun. USA Concrete Coatings. By the way, Palace Bingo, come on out. Spend the evening with us. I may be a little late. I've got a dinner for a football program. We're all going to work on a dance routine for Dancing Queen. USA Concrete Coatings, 578-HOME. Let Charlie Garcia come out and help you. Junior's a great example. He can sand it, seal it, stain it, paint it, put down the toughest nails polyurethane coat that won't.
Crack stick, peel or fade.
He can do it. Veracruz Restaurant. Today's pre-Caldo Wednesday, Tuesday. Means you can get in and have everything but caldo. The menu's there. The menu's full all the way down to and including the chicken fried steak. They've got a pork chop plate.
Cover it in queso if you want
It's
to.
going to be great. The Dollar Floor Store. Go buy.
And then go buy.
And buy. B-U-Y. That's actually it's G-O-E-B-U-Y. Go buy. It's like Wordle. We just add vowels.
They've got carpet for like 79 cents a square foot. And this isn't just remnants and pieces that were cut out of somebody else's project.
No,
this is stuff for your entire home.
It's like Dolly Parton's coat of many colors. You just take a whole bunch of 6 by 6 inch remnants and stitch them together.
So you guys didn't have basements here, but growing up, that was one of the things that you could buy, like almost a AstroTurf type of carpet tile. And that's what went into a lot of people's basements back in the day. I know what it looks
like. And then if one gets stained, you just take it out and put down another one.
Yeah.
But if all the guys were down there, there was that one that you could tell the one that you replaced.
Yeah, because it was new. And
get by there.
Yeah. Chopping block. Services. I've heard today the chopping block. Went by there yesterday. They did not have any of the barbacoa boudin in, but they will at some point today.
That's awesome. And I tell you what, it is extremely popular. I mean, you've got to go by and get it. Extremely
they do 100 pounds like every time they put it out, and it's gone by the end of close that day. So you have to get in there too.
Yep. White Trash Services and White Trash Site Services. I was in Edna yesterday, drove by, made a stop at an insurance prospect that I'm having a great conversation with. And I tell you what, right out front, boom, dumpster from White Trash Services. P. Strauss is in Louisville. Still, I did not know that. Man, 55 degrees in Louisville. Enjoy that weather, brother.
He says some Caldo would hit the spot.
I sure would.
I'm thinking a little nip of bourbon would hit that spot as well.
Gracious. Chesnick first, well, that's what you say in the morning. Brush your teeth with. It's like I knew
Crown Royal. I call that toothpaste.
Yeah, when I first got to know you, and you were like Jack Daniels. Ha! I gargle with that. Chesnick Furniture, Chesnick and Love make your house a home. Get in and see why you just always do better at Chesnick. Bobby Leon and his family serving you and yours for 105, 106 years, over 80 years at their current location. Get by and see them today. Paravita Wellness and the Vita Cafe. I thought we might see Erica Briggs
There's
this
still
morning.
time.
She's like the Hank Williams Jr. of music, the Hank Williams that no show Briggs.
Yeah.
But
There's still time.
that the only reason would be is if somebody didn't come in and she's actually having to hold down the fort
Probably is.
at Paravita. Let's
So,
go back to the program.
Yeah, let me read you this
read it,
headline. Severe monkeypox virus strain possibly spreading in LA County. Now, why would monkeypox be spreading in LA County, California? You think because we've let in a bunch of people whose backgrounds we don't know, whose vaccine status we have no idea,
No, it's
whose
Trump's
health
fault.
history we have no clue, and
Trump and
LA is
RFK
a
Jr.
sanctuary city? I mean, you think that might be the reason why?
1973, on this date in 1973, the Sydney Opera House opened. You'll recall it's a beautiful
Yeah. always thought it was older than that.
sail-shaped. It's a beautiful, beautiful building. It's one of the things that led me to study architecture was how beautiful that was. Also on this date in 1975 was the day that Carlton Fisk hit the home run against the Yankees that if it's fair, it's gone. And he was begging it to stay fair, and it did.
Apparently, there's 3 cases of this monkeypox.
No, not 3 in a city of what, 7 million people?
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Shut down the 405.
LA County health officials say they have concerns about a possible local spread after 3 cases were confirmed. The second case in an adult, according to the Epoch Times, with no recent travel to regions where the virus is typically found, which means somebody was from that region where the virus is typically found.
Got some splaining to do.
Yeah.
Kind of like Magic Johnson having AIDS. Did you get that from a Rice Krispie treat? I'm going to guess you weren't a hypodermic drug user. Oh, goodness.
Yeah. How about this Louvre heist yesterday? Was it yesterday?
Day before.
Over the weekend.
Priceless jewels. Priceless is how they were described. Somebody broke in and stole from the Louvre. The Louvre been embattled lately. Didn't have enough AC. Workers were walking out. It's an old, very expensive museum. I have been there. I have seen the Mona Lisa. It was
Infrastructure is crumbling.
underwhelming.
Yeah, because it's not very big.
No, it's only about
Yeah.
like that big.
They're saying it could be too late to recover the jewels already.
Well, here's the deal. There is a black market, if you will. There's there are people that would like to own them knowing that they were stolen from the Louvre. They would love to show their best friends. This belonged to Queen Isabella of Spain, and I bought it from a heist at the Louvre. Those people are out there.
9 pieces of Francis crown jewels, according to NBC News, were stolen in the daylight of Sunday morning.
Sacrilege.
Given the issues they had at the Louvre, I can't help but think insurance fraud.
Could be.
I-
Lloyd's of London probably involved.
Now they're saying, well, we might not get him back.
I just saw right here, it talks about new food allergies in the U.S. have dropped 36% in the last 10 years. Did you see where the number of people, I'm not judging. I don't know if these people have been intimidated, but the trend of people identifying as transgender has just dropped off a cliff. It has literally plummeted to almost zero.
Yeah.
And it just makes you wonder if that little trend has run its cycle. It's funny.
That's what the researchers said, that this is basically akin to a fad that is now fading out.
Right. People were, landlocked at home during COVID. They played dress up. They
Went down wormholes on YouTube and
no doubt
social
about it.
media.
No doubt about it. It's like I said, it was interesting. The first girl, let's say, that dressed goth, the kind of the white makeup, the white and black.
Marilyn Manson?
Yeah, but the first girl that did that was a trailblazer. It was
A leader.
the whole point was that I'm not like everybody else. The next 8 million people that decided to do that, they were just followers. They were just following a different leader. You know, it was just absurd. Interesting.
Yeah.
But
And now-
I find it's funny to me. It is actually hilarious to me that the left screams about how, for example, a man's brain isn't fully developed until he's 25, which is why men can't be trusted, which is why men are bad. But yet, if you're 9 years old and you're a little boy and you want to be named, Felicia, then they think you
And
should
cut
be
your
allowed
bits
to
off.
cut your bits off without even telling your parents, and that the school ought to help you do it.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. The left, the hypocrisy and the lunacy of the left is just so overwhelming.
Well, in another case of leftist lunacy, they're coming to the defense of Venezuelan President Nick Maduro.
Yes.
These are just good people trying to make a living as fishermen,
That's a lot.
and the U.S. is killing them.
They're drug dealers. You better go make a living a little closer to Venezuela. Have you looked at where Venezuela is compared to our coast?
Have
You got to
looked-
come all
yeah.
the way around the Dominican Republic to get there.
Please tell me, when's the last time you saw a fisherman in a speedboat?
Yeah, well, it's a Texas thing.
When's the last time you saw a fisherman in a boat driving straight for a Navy vessel?
Correct. Now you're getting somewhere. Venezuela is not right off the southern coast of Florida. It's around on the other side of the Dominican Republic. And these guys are coming up, bringing their cocaine and stuff. It's just, blow them out of the water. They will quit coming. They'll quit coming.
And there's already talks about how they're having to find new ways to get here, but they're having problems because other countries in Central America are tired of the illegal immigration and the crime that comes with it. So they've elected conservative leaders, and they've put they've tamped down on their immigration policies. Venezuelan drug lords are having problems, according to Francis Martel, who's a great international reporter on Breitbart. If you ever want to really
Very
get
sharp.
skinny on her stuff or on what's going on around the world, they can't go through the usual land channels that they used to. That's why they've taken to the sea.
That's right.
They can't drop it from the air.
Trump knows. He's
Yeah.
got the intel. He knows. He's not acting on a whim here. He's never this flamboyant unless he's right. Hunter's laptop, Russia dossier. He's right when he's this arrogant, and he's right. Kathleen Leininger says, Louvre employees complaining about known security vulnerabilities with no act from the powers that be.
Kind of sounds like Pelosi on
Not surprised.
January 6th, doesn't it?
Yes, not surprised when their PM can't admit, the prime minister can't admit his wife is actually a male. I did see a guy that would, by the way, I do think his wife is a man. I did see a deal the other day that there was a guy that was in charge of security at the Capitol who did confirm that at least on 6 separate occasions, he reached out to Nancy Pelosi to please bring in reinforcements, and she declined.
Lonnie Howard, if you asked if you think the French government would convict or give workable sentences to the thieves.
Yeah, well,
So, New York just completely.
New York's lost its mind.
Yeah.
It's going to turn into an unbelievable crime-ridden. It's just going to be the anti-America. But hey, it's almost like, and I remember being a kid and thinking about how that, God never gives up on you. But I do recall him saying, or not, I didn't say that. I do recall learning and comprehending that if you act on your own volition enough, that he will turn you over to it. He will allow you to drift as far as you want to drift. And I think that it may do some good for New York to drift. Donald Trump has already said, I will not be giving you money. I am not going to bail you out if you go this route. Let them, man. Let them freeze rents. Let them put in local government-owned grocery stores. Let them make all the buses free and give everybody free childcare. Let's watch that word free balloon into such a huge trail of debt for the city of New York that they come begging the U.S., please, please come help us.
Daniel Bird says until Trump sends the Guard into New York City.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, a court yesterday ruled that, it's okay for the Guard to go into
Chicago?
Portland.
Oh, into Portland?
Appeals court handing the Trump administration a legal victory. This, according to CNN, to deploy National Guard troops into Portland, despite objections from that state's leaders. It's really funny how the media has spun this, and the political leaders in Portland are going out of their way to try to tell you that Portland is safe and there was nothing going on.
It's a lie.
And yet individual journalists have been going on Twitter at night, and I haven't followed it for a couple of weeks.
I've seen some of the videos,
but the video is pretty
being
telling what's
accosted,
going on.
slapped around. Why you turn your camera off? I've seen it.
Yeah.
I've seen it. Very interesting.
Um,
Government shutdown 21st day. Today was the 11th vote, and the Senate for the 11th time voted to keep the government shut down.
What do they need? 7 Democrats to go
Just
to the
7.
other side, and it just tells you that they're in lockstep on
And it
this. they
cracks
won't
me up
move.
because I've seen the videos where it's always some self-serving Democrat person that goes in there and goes, well, here we are. We're ready to go to work. Where are the Republicans? The Republicans are like, dude, we've already got our 53 votes. Let us know when you get your 7, and we'll come over and we'll vote. That'll get us to 60, and we can roll on.
Should we take our final break?
We should. Folks, Went Services, Went Generators, Went for all your electrical needs. Went can help you if you want to expand a building, if you need to rewire something, if you buy a property and it's got those old screw-in fuses, Went can come out and install a new panel for you. And
Can they give me a vacuum tube for
They
my
can
console
help.
TV?
they can help a lot. Maybe a toaster oven. Atzenhofer and Atzenhofer.com. Tommy Taylor and his team welcome you in. Ask for the dealership principal. Go in and introduce yourself to Tommy. Tell him Wade and Carter sent you. They're making deals. It's truck month. I saw where they had $12,500 off of a sticker price on a new Chevy Silverado. Get by there and check it out. First State Bank of Louise. Astros update. Framber Valdez.
Still not signed.
Framber not signed, won't be signed. Framber's going to move on. But the qualifying offer is like $22 million and change. A lot of money for Framber, who I think made $87 last year. And Framber is expected to reject that qualifying offer. Qualifying offer does not mean that the Astros can't re-sign him. It just means that it's a formality.
Yeah.
They have
If
to
they
give him an
don't make
offer.
it,
And if he says it's kind of like self-inflicted arbitration. It's prescribed by the CBA, collective bargaining agreement, and Framber's guaranteed, hey, we'll give you $22.5 million. If he says no, then he declares free agency, and the Astros become like any other bidder for his services.
but I think if the Astros don't make that offer,
Fourth
then
or
they
fifth
can't
round.
be in there, right? And they
That's
can't,
right.
They can't get, they can't.
if
get
you
some
decide not to make a
compensatory-
qualifying offer, then he's a free agent
Without-
immediately, and you have no claim on him.
So we'll see what happens there. And then in a bold move to shake up the team, because this is the kind of move that you need to make in the offseason when you underwhelm and underperform. They've parted ways with their head athletic trainer.
Yeah, you may feel that that's just kind of a symbolic serving up of like we're getting a new defensive backs coach. I don't think that's the case. We reported here during the season that Jose Altuve had said, look, we're not going to make the playoffs. We have atrophied. All of our training is done with bands. We're not lifting weights anymore. And as a result, the Astros didn't make the playoffs, and I think it was a large part of this change was because of Altuve.
But the number of hamstring injuries
That's
went
right.
down significantly this year.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, they're on a different cocktail
Wow.
of performance-enhancing drugs.
And I know the importance of athletic trainers, but to me, this kind of wouldn't this fall on your strength and conditioning
Yeah, Jonathan
Training?
Williams is correct. He says qualifying offer attaches draft pick compensation. Astros expect to get a 4th or 5th rounder if another team signs him. So that's it.
Yeah, it's all based on the value.
It's all based on an assessed value. It's meat on the hoof, and it's just it doesn't take his feelings. And in fact, you see where Alex Bregman decided to exercise his option. He's going to be a free agent. What does that mean? Was he? He wasn't due for a contract, was he?
I think he was signed with a player option, and he declined it, so he wants to leave Boston.
Does that mean he wants to leave Boston, or he wants to
Did he accept the
redo his
option?
deal? I don't know.
He could stay there, I guess.
I heard he was filing for free agency.
Okay.
I don't think he had the
Astros
year
need
there.
him.
We don't need him.
Move him
No.
to first base.
Don't need him. No, it's already crowded over there because you're either going to have Isak Paredes there or,
Christian
the
Walker.
multi-time Gold Glover
Yeah.
Christian Walker there, who really was clutch, I thought, defensively. I don't know what you do.
Well,
I don't know where you put everybody in that offense.
I don't either, and
I
that's
mean,
the
in that
problem is
defense.
they've got a lot of
I like
people.
Paredes at third better than I like Correa. I just don't know where to put Correa.
Yeah.
And I don't think you can't, in theory, you could just rotate everybody to the right. You could put Paredes at third, Correa back at short, and Pena at second, because Altuve is almost becoming a defensive liability at second base. I don't think that Pena wants to play second, and he is, for better, not for better or worse, for better, he is one of the key faces of the program. So I don't know what you do. People just very casually go, oh, we'll put Paredes at first. Okay, he's a third baseman. He should be able to play first. A little bit different, not
Yeah.
the same.
No.
It's always funny to me how
Although
they
a lot of third basemen do make that transition late in their career.
Sure.
That maybe doesn't happen as often now, but
But it's
They
not
have
late in
done
his
it.
career.
No,
I don't
no,
know.
it's
man.
not,
I don't
but-
know. I put it this way: defense should not be a problem for the Astros. And you watched enough playoff baseball this year to realize the Astros are an elite defensive team. Elite defensive team. I saw some bonehead plays in the playoffs that I went, wow. He
Yeah.
threw that 40 feet wide of home plate from right field. I mean, like, how did that happen?
yeah, Seattle in Game 6 against
Oh.
Toronto just bobbled a couple in the infield, that routine that should have been made. And
No
that's
doubt.
why they forced a game. Or that's why Toronto forced a Game 7 and then won it.
This is worth mentioning right here, what you're fixing
Yeah.
to mention.
U.S. and Australia sign a critical minerals deal. Is this the new term for rare earth minerals? Because we're finding out they're not so rare,
Yeah.
that
they're
they
just
seem to be
critical.
everywhere.
It's climate change. It's not global warming. Do you know why this deal is so important?
No, please tell me.
I'll tell you
why
why.
is so important?
The U.S. and Australia
I feel like I'm a match game.
are signing a critical minerals agreement for $8.5 billion project pipeline. Here's why. Donald Trump has done everything he can do so far to end the war in Ukraine. Here's what he told Zelensky 4 months ago. Hey, if you'll just calm down, I'll put engineers over there. I'll extract the minerals for you. I'll give you half, and we'll take the other half. Ukraine doesn't need the minerals as badly as the U.S. So,
Well, they don't need the minerals because they're shipping them all to us, and we're building all the armaments that these minerals are used for and the guidance systems, and then giving them back to us.
so my presence will provide the security that Ukraine needs. And Zelensky said, no, that won't do it. I need boots on the ground because I don't need Vlad Putin bombing my people. And I remember Trump said he won't bomb me. He doesn't keep his word. He's never lied to me, Trump said. Zelensky didn't buy it. So then Trump had a meeting in Alaska with Putin and said, can we just end this thing? Showed him the F-35, showed him everything that's sitting right there off his Russian coast. Putin didn't bite. So then he goes back and he tells Zelensky, I may have to give you those Tomahawk missiles, the ones that would reach all the way to Moscow. I may have to give you those, Vlad. Zelensky eagerly came over, wanted to get those missiles. They weren't granted yet. Trump about to meet in Hungary, again with Putin. He's trying desperately to end this conflict. They think that the Donald is all about money and it's all about the U.S. So the Donald says, you know what? I'm done with y'all. Do what you want. I'll go cut a deal with Australia. I'm going to get the minerals I need anyway. I'm going to bolster my relationship with an American ally, and I'm going to help their economy, which, by the way, as you know, the economy of the state of Texas is bigger than the economy of Australia. $8.5 billion is a big contract to Australia.
Well, and here's another reason why this is so important. It reduces our dependency on China. If it comes to fruition, there's a framework here, about $1 billion each being, from what I've read, invested by each country. I don't know which companies are involved, and that could lead to a total of about $8.5 billion. Yeah, let's be honest.
We're on CNBC right
But
here.
what's interesting with this, though, is Australia is a lot closer to China than it is to the United States. This basically keeps China out of Australia for these same minerals, and then Australia's reliance on China. That's probably more important than anything else on here.
Yep. Like John Paul, you're exactly right, sir. John Paul goes, he creates leverage out of thin air. Go back to that article. I'm going to show you something I thought was interesting. The stocks making the biggest moves pre-market. GM, Coca-Cola, 3M, and Philip Morris. You know what I picture? GM. So a guy gets in his new Escalade with a Coca-Cola. He goes and gets his windows tinted while he's working on Marlboro Red.
Wrapping a present with Scotch tape.
There you go. There you have it. Tint your windows, smoke some ciggies, drink a Coke, and see the USA in a new Chevrolet.
There you go.
There you have it. Pentagon investment in Australia. It'll include companies such as Alcoa.
Oh, we had lots of aluminium here.
Yeah, aluminium.
No, they want gallium apparently this time. China now kind of responding.
There's Gallum here.
Yeah. China says the U.S. and Australia should play a proactive role to bolster rare earth supply chains.
Right.
Well, what else are they going to say? They lost this one.
Yeah.
So to appease their people, what did you see over the weekend? They quietly disappeared another of their military leaders. I think it's like a dozen of them that are gone.
In China?
Yeah.
Well, he just retired.
So
Nothing's better than
retired, never to be seen again.
nothing's better than that time that guy from Wagner Group, his plane got shot down. I'm not even sure Putin was necessarily involved, but he never misses the opportunity, right?
Yeah.
Because dictators rule by fear. He turned around and said, well, he made some bad choices. They asked him, did you shoot his plane down? Oh, he made some bad choices.
Speaking of a good choice, not a bad choice, the family of some idiot in Atlanta decided to call police because they recognized crazy within their own family
Good for them.
and saw something, said something, and police tracked this guy down at Atlanta airport where he had illegally parked his vehicle in the loading zone outside and was going in to scope out. Apparently this guy was planning to shoot up the Atlanta airport.
And I'm glad they caught him. It doesn't matter what his name is, but anyway, they found him. And Kathleen Leiniger with a little judgment. Zelensky is a self-aggrandizing blowhard. I think he had good intentions early on. I do. I think now he's kind of in it for him. Warren McVeigh died, U of H superstar back in the day.
Led Breckenridge to a state title in the 60s, was the first black athlete to be recruited to a major Texas college.
Also played for the Kansas City Chiefs when they won their first Super Bowl. So
yeah. Once again, another idiot.
no, come on, don't judge.
In San Antonio, a gentleman, I'm not going to mention his name, but he was arrested on Sunday for allegedly threatening to kill participants in the No Kings protest.
Who does that?
I don't know. Released on a $100,000 bond.
That makes perfect sense.
Doesn't
He
it,
threatens
though?
to kill a bunch of people totally illogically.
Yeah.
Let's just get $10,000 out of him and put him out on bond. Makes perfect sense.
Yeah. The remains of a recently identified U.S. Navy sailor killed during the attack on Pearl Harbor. We're coming up on Pearl Harbor Day. Will be buried at the Coastal Bend State Veterans Cemetery today. U.S. Navy storekeeper, third class Roberto Stillman Garcia was a native of Concepcion, and they've just recently identified his remains. How many others are going to remain unidentified after,
Wow.
what, 80 years? More than 80 years?
Yeah,
I recall
84 years.
September 7th, 1940.
What was the gentleman's name, folks? Was it Howell? Was an art teacher. Gary Lindsay? Mr. Lindsay was a Pearl Harbor survivor. Now, so I'm talking about like 1975 on there, something like that. And you're only talking about 30 years after Pearl Harbor, and I remember being like, wow, that's really cool. He was at Pearl Harbor.
And congrats to Cowboys kicker Brandon Aubrey. Now the all-time NFL record holder for field goals of 60 yards or longer. He nailed his fifth in that win over the Commanders.
There are
on
lots
Sunday.
of kickers in the NFL right now blaming their coach for not having the courage to send them out there.
Yeah.
It's funny, the other day the Cowboys had the ball and on a kickoff, and the guy got like to the 35 on the return, and the announcer goes, well, the Cowboys moved swiftly into field goal position.
Yeah.
It was very funny. A solid question by Tammy. I'll give her this one. She says, give Ukraine to the invading Russians. I said here 6 months ago, at least, I said, there is no way that they will ever go back to the original boundaries. There is no way, even though Russia is the aggressor, even though Russia are the bad guys, if you think Russia is going to take all their dead bodies and go back and put things back to the original boundaries, I just think it's short-sighted. Is that justice? No. Is it bad? Yes. War is hell. People lose. That's what's going to happen. Have a great day. Be safe. We love you. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Get my Paravita today. Do your body a favor.
Bye, folks.
Night, messing around.